I don't see how this benefits us. And also, girls have the power.
If you're hearing our voices, that means it's time for It's This Meets That. I'm Russ.
And I'm Jared.
Just when I think it can't get any worse, we somehow find ourselves here. Jared, what did we do this week? What did we do to ourselves?
Well, we watched Swiped, which was a suggestion from Thais, who is now a listener. So for the rest of you listeners out there, if you want to suggest a movie that we should do, get in our social medias. It's This Meets That on Instagram. You can send us an email, anything you want. So Swiped, this movie, I think, is the worst movie we've done so far.
Yes, no doubt.
I mean, just based on the premise, like it sounds not as bad as it is.
I'd buy that.
So James, a college freshman and computer genius, is enlisted by his womanizing roommate Lance to code the ultimate hookup app. But when James discovers that his divorced mother is using the app, unexpected consequences ensue.
Clearly.
Now, part of the reason why I love this description is also because it makes his mother using the app like a critical plot point.
It's not really.
Well, no, it is the justification for everything at the end. Like,
yeah. Yes, this is Swiped. It's rated TV 14.
I'm not surprised.
I think that means it's for 14 and up, right? Is that how that works?
I don't know. I think so.
So TV 14, it was listed on Netflix under raunchy, goofball, late night comedies. It is none of those things.
Yes, it is decidedly.
It is not even close.
Maybe late. Maybe when they turned this one in, it was a little bit late. I could see that.
Like they submitted it late.
Yes.
Yeah. Goofball, I could kind of see that. Raunchy, not even close.
Yeah. Also not a comedy.
No. I mean, hey, comedy is subjective.
Sure.
So let's get into some quick info about it. It was written and directed by Anne Deborah Fishman. Right.
Who, when you said that, when you put that in the notes, I was incredulous because I had, as a quote, girls have the power as a second quote on this one, because it's the exact opposite of everything that that happened in the movie.
Yes.
And like this movie's like seemingly pretty problematic.
Across the board.
Yeah, across the board. It's like very anti-feminist and I don't know. Like I was like, there's no way a woman had any hand in making this movie. And then I was like, oh wait, Anne Deborah Fishman. So now I'm convinced it's a pseudonym for someone else.
Someone else. Yeah. I can see that. She's got one other feature under her belt and then a couple shorts and that's it. So, still starting out, trying to figure out where to go with things, but
which I commented on it later, but she, the Night Dove Productions, whatever the studio is there.
Yeah.
Awesome logo, awesome animations on that logo. I wanted to see more Night Dove Productions.
Yeah. I think it's just her production company. I mean, she did a lot.
Right.
She did the casting. She wrote it. She directed. So it's like,
huge props. Like she's accomplished way more in her life than I could ever hope to accomplish.
Yeah, than will combined probably accomplish. So
for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. But
that being said, this was horrendous.
Actors, I'm not gonna go crazy here, but I'll just list off the top. Like, there's none of these people anyone will know.
No, I've never heard of anyone in this movie except.
Or we'll get to so we get Kendall Sanders, Noah Centineo,
I've heard of
Nathan Gamble, and Shelby Wolford. That's it. That's the kid actors, kind of. I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how old anyone is in this movie. I don't know anything. I feel way dumber after having watched this. People existed for an hour and a half, and that was it. And I've forgotten about all of them already.
Yeah. I'm dreading how long we're going to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I'm curious. We'll see. But then we have George Hamilton,
right?
Randomly, I was not expecting that until like the opening scene or whenever he first pops up. I was like, George Hamilton, what the hell is he doing in this?
Right. Who I thought was Columbo until you corrected me.
He was in Columbo,
Right.
but he's not Columbo.
Not Columbo. Rest in peace.
But he's actually, whatever. He's not bad. Production, usually we go through production budget, box office revenue. Obviously, this didn't go to the box office. This went right to our eyeballs.
At best.
At best. I couldn't even find production, but you know me, investigative journalist. I did some clicking around,
Sure. Yep.
I couldn't find anything. But I think now we've done this for this is our 9th episode now. I think we could probably take a good guess at a production budget.
We're movie industry veterans at this point.
At this point, come on. I mean, we have logged at least 20 hours worth of discussing movies.
At the very least, yeah. So we're professionals. I would say, and I was thinking about this actually as we got into it, there were like 4 actual scenes in this movie as far as like sets go.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was like, they were like, oh, it's a club. And I think they reused the club a couple times. But for the most part, there were like 4 places that this movie took place.
Yeah.
And none of them were really fleshed out either. No. So my guess is only because you got to pay some of the actors, maybe like $200,000.
Yeah, I mean, and I was gonna say Deborah and Deborah.
Yep.
I mean, she did a lot herself here, right? So, yeah, you got to pay the actors. There was really a total of like 15 actors, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, lots of extras.
George Hamilton was probably the highest. He probably pulled the highest bid there.
I don't know. I was thinking Noah Centineo might be.
Really?
I mean, he was into All the Boys I Loved Before, and I feel like that's like
It's reasonable. $200,000. I'm gonna go $100,000.
100. Okay, I could totally see that. Yeah. They. I mean,
if I said $50,000, would you been like, yeah, I could totally see that too.
Yes, definitely. Because like when I say there were like 4 set pieces here, one of them was the sorority house, and when I say the sorority house was a set, I mean the foyer and the stairway, like the stairway,
and the kitchen
were the only parts of that had anything. Yeah.
They got an Airbnb for a weekend and shot all those scenes in there. Boom, done.
Yes. I was thinking it was like somebody's dad's house, probably, but
yeah. So that's our professional assessment of production budget for this movie.
Yep, low.
And Deborah Fishman.
Yep.
If you want to reach out, let us know.
Yep. Get a little Hollywood pitch going?
Yeah, let's do it. Pitch it.
All right. So here's my thinking. Again, because of how anti-woman this movie seemed, I'm going to go ahead and say any Woody Allen movie. Like the female characters had no agency of their own. Like they didn't try to accomplish anything. Like it wasn't written that way.
No.
They were like in the backseat the whole time. And I feel like that's a nice Woody Allen special. And then ultimately end up with like some kind of negative stereotype.
Yep.
Of like, well, we don't want to end up alone forever is like an actual quote from the movie.
Yeah.
So Woody Allen meets Age of Ultron. Now, hear me out. As opposed to comic book Ultron, which is Hank Pym special. I'm talking purely movie Age of Ultron here.
Yep.
Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, use the Mind Stone, create, and then, they have to destroy their monster in the end, which, spoilers for what's ahead. We have to,
from this point forward.
Our hero here, I hesitate to call him a hero. I switch a lot. Yeah, I'm not calling him a hero. Our main character, James, ultimately has to destroy his creation, his beautiful monster. So that's where I'm getting at. It was from a destroy your monster kind of that you created perspective.
Okay, I buy that.
You took the movie I was going to do, so I couldn't.
Oh, I mean, that's fair. I went pretty straightforward. I went, it's a Social Network meets pretty much any American Pie spin-off movie. And I'm definitely talking about 4 of them, 5 of them? I didn't know this, by the way. I went a little American Pie kind of Wikipedia clicking.
I thought you said 6.
No, I counted wrong. I can't count. So there's 4 main American Pie movies that has like the original cast, right? And then there's 5 more spin-off ones with just like these stupid college ones, right? So there's Band Camp, Beta House, Naked Mile, Book of Love, and Girls Rule.
Oh boy.
We might have to watch one of those. Those might be a future episode, but
sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going with. Social Network meets pretty much any one of those movies, American Pie spinoff.
Yeah, I like yours too, because it makes, I mean, had so many elements of the Social Network in this movie.
100%. Other than it being good.
James is like a more likable Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. I mean, he does a lot of mansplaining, and he's, kind of annoying at the end, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, he's very unlikable. I'm not painting a good picture. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to make sure the listeners knew what you're doing.
Yeah. Shout out to Mark Zuckerberg if I ever want to work at Facebook.
Nah, I'm good. All right, yeah. So that's kind of quick info with it. Hollywood pitch, fast facts. Yep. I'll start because I found this one first.
Please.
Why not? We don't have many for this one, but this is pretty good. So George Hamilton is in it. He plays James' main character's grandfather.
Right, not Columbo.
What's that?
Not Columbo.
Not Columbo. And Alana Stewart plays James' main character's grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And George Hamilton and Alana Stewart were formerly married in real life.
Yeah, and this is the thing that got me when you said that. When you said that, I was like, "Oh, so they're still married? That's sweet."
Nope. It was a strong October to October 4-year term, if you will. October 29th, 1972 to October 13th, 1976. You really couldn't have just made it the extra 16 days to call it a nice clean 4 years.
Yeah. I'm actually very interested in the story. I should have done. I'm going to do more research after this because I want to know what happened. Do they still work together? Is this the first time they played a husband and wife in a movie? I have so many questions.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, maybe should we just ditch this episode entirely and just do a dig?
I think so. Yeah. They also had no chemistry.
Zero, which now this makes even more sense, right?
Yes. I'm like, oh, you were divorced when you were married for 4 years, 50 years ago. Great.
Holy shit.
Right on.
Oh my God. What else we got here? What's that?
I said, what else you got?
Yeah, there's not many. So the other one I pulled was so the actor Nathan Gamble, right? He plays one of and we'll get into breakdown of the characters, but he plays one of Lance Black's, that's his name in the movie. Buddies, one of the bros, if you will. That's what I'm calling him.
Right. The two blonde boys.
Yeah, he's one of the smaller blonde-haired friends of Lance, right? Yeah. This kid actually has a pretty good list of credits here. He was Jim Gordon's kid in The Dark Knight.
Huge. That's a career-defining role.
Right? He was also in Dolphin Tale 1 and 2.
Also career-defining roles.
Huge, right? And I think there's one more that I'm missing here. That's kind of you were in. Oh, he was in The Mist. I don't know if you remember that one.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of is around. I don't know, but and he was also in Marley and Me. So not that it was a big movie, but everyone knew it.
Oh, and he was in an episode of House. Okay. He's in stuff.
He's done all right. And
he's a career actor. You could totally say he's a career actor for sure.
100%. And he did I think pretty much everyone is always in an episode of either Law and Order or CSI at some point. I think actually you and I are on an episode at some point. Yeah. So he's crushed that too. So he's got a pretty good list of credits here. NCIS too. So
And I think that plays into the plot a little bit of this movie too, because about halfway through, we'll cover it at some point. No, it's more than halfway through. Yeah. Maybe 3/4 of the way through is when the group dynamics really shift, and all of a sudden, smaller blonder boy is kind of the leader somehow, and that was really jarring to me.
Yeah, it was because the main villain,
sure, yeah,
antagonist is just kind of fades to the back a bit,
right? And then it was I think they realized halfway through, they're like, wait a second, Noah Centineo has been in only really a couple of things. This kid was Jim Gordon's son in The Dark Knight. Let's give him some more screen time.
Right. He was also in Babel, by the way. His first screen credit, Nathan Gamble, was in Babel.
Great credit to have on your resume.
Crushing it, right? Again, doing much more than we will ever.
Rockstar.
Total.
So
then, fact is all you. What do you got?
Yeah. So speaking of Noah Centineo, which I'm probably mispronouncing. Sorry. I don't know. It's the best we can do.
I'm sure he'll reach out.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's thismeetsthat@gmail.com. So he was in, as I've said several times now, To All the Boys I Loved Before. That's where Thais had heard about him. She was excited about this movie. She saw it because of this connection, where he played basically this like handsome, dreamy, like perfect in every way boyfriend that was like, you know, like everything that you could want in a boyfriend is his character in that thing. And then in this joint, it was the exact opposite. And I wanted to call this out as a fact back because I think this guy's got range as an actor. He wasn't good at it, but he
did it.
He did it. He played a very unlikable character. Agreed.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I buy that. I buy all of that.
Talented.
So that's it for Fast Facts.
Yep.
We're gonna get into this. Let's just do it, right?
Yep.
All right, it's happening.
So yeah. So back to Night Dove Pictures here. Awesome animation. I think you called it out too, right?
Yeah. Night Dove Pictures, like, all right, cool. I'm into it.
Where do I get more of these Night Dove Pictures? And then like with the whole opening music and the credit scene, like it was a really nicely animated production, I thought. Like it was.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue.
No, I can see you have criticisms.
I mean,
it fit my expectations.
Fit your expectations. All right. Well, that's not fair to say because now it just kind of.
Yeah, go ahead and poo-poo that now, Russ.
I don't know. It looked like my first PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. I thought it was like in the what's that?
Like slick cartoony-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Like in trying to be like a hip indie flick.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. We've now this is like our 9th episode. We've seen pretty bad like opening credit scenes.
Oh, we spend probably 5 to 10 minutes each episode talking about the opening credits. So yes,
we could probably shorten this show down and just talk about the opening and end credits, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Some time. No, all right. They weren't bad. They were cute, I guess. Is that a word? Yeah, they were cute.
Yeah, it was like a cartoony animation of like a hand and a pictures and pictures of people introducing the cast, kind of, but not really.
They were swiping. It was an animated thing swiping the cast on a phone.
Exactly.
Fitting to what the title of the movie called Swiped and what we're going to get into.
Exactly.
How about that?
So then we're in the car ride.
Yeah, so we finish credits. We jump right into a car ride. This is a car ride with James, our main character, driving him to college. He's going to college, right? Freshman. Yep. Mom, sisters in the car. I think we literally have one comment about this entire car ride.
Yeah, we immediately get the introduction to this character James by the YouTube show that he's watching, which is like any stereotypical YouTube motivational tech speaker you could think of, where it's like you're not disrupting, you're not innovating.
It's like shitty TEDx, basically, right?
Exactly. Yeah, love to hate it.
That's the car ride. Do you know where they were going to school? Could you? Was there a name?
No. Southern California, I think. Somewhere.
Yeah, I know. So this movie definitely takes place in California. There's no doubt about that. I was trying to figure out if it was ever mentioned what college they were going to, but it was just like generic college. But then there was one shot of a building, I think later on, where it was like, it said something on the outside, like biotech, like classes, whatever. I'm like, why are all these, anyways, yeah, I don't know. It just seemed.
Yeah. Well, when they don't show us the outside of the college at first. We start right in on the dorm tour here.
Yeah. Yep.
And when we do see the outside of the college, my first thought was it was a mall. I was like, I thought we were zooming out to a mall, like across town.
It's California colleges, my friend.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a college. But
we don't get that up here in New England.
You're right.
California.
But like when they're in the dorm room here, it's mom dropping him off, first day of college. He's a freshman. And they're like really laying it on thick where he's like, one day I will code an app that will really make a difference. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I know exactly what this kid's going to do now.
And then that's when we don't get introduced to him yet, but they do talk about who his roommate is.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I met him online. He seemed cool.
Seemed cool. Well, he's Lance Black.
And then I love the mom's like trying, like the mom and the sister in this scene are trying to pick on him a bunch. And they're like, oh, you don't have any friends. The sister has some real jam lines later on, especially.
Yeah.
She's very mean, and I'm very anti the sister at first.
Yes.
Until she becomes the hero at some point. But and so the mom and the sister are like, oh, well, you should go have some friends and do some stuff, and
being a nerd.
Be a social college kid. Like, don't be good, be rotten. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say to your child.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But they're kind of cranking on him for being kind of a nerd introvert, which, okay, yeah, go meet some people. But is making fun of someone who's like into computers, like, is that a thing still today?
I guess so. Well,
I don't think so.
So yes, it is for sure. But also at the same time, everyone at the school is a computer science major.
Right. Right.
Which I pointed out a bunch of times because it's infuriating.
That's why I was wondering, like, what college to go to, because like everyone keeps talking about computer science, and then at the end he's like, "Oh, I switched." Lance does, but yeah.
Nothing makes sense in the movie. Don't try to think about it too much.
I won't. But we do meet Lance Black at this point too, right? Yes.
Yeah, that's when that's when. No, I don't think so. That's when we cut over. This is like when we zoom out and it's nighttime now. It's not like, oh wait, no, I think you're right. We do meet him for 1 second.
Yeah, because mom and sister leave, and then Lance Black shows up, his cool badass roommate, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm a little extra. It's this meets that.
Sure.
You ready for this? Lance Black. I think it's Mark Ruffalo meets Benicio del Toro.
This is Noah Centineo that we're talking about.
Yes, the main antagonist, if you will, James's roommate. He sounds exactly like Mark Ruffalo, kind of looks like him a little bit, but then has like if Benicio del Toro was in there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
I don't know if that's good or bad or creates whatever, but yeah.
Neither. I think it's acceptable.
So they finally meet, and lines are drawn where Lance is basically like, hey, this is my room, whatever, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
You're a nerd, obviously.
That's why I totally forgot, because he's like, oh, you want to get lunch together? And he's like, nope, see you later. Like, that's the end, basically.
Yeah, because he was like, yeah, I guess I am kind of hungry. And he just walks away.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
It's ruthless. It's so mean.
Yeah. Everyone in this movie is unnecessarily mean.
I would agree. Yeah, like everyone's pretty terrible actually in this movie. Even our main characters, he gets to be pretty annoying.
Oh, he's super annoying, and that's why I was saying he is very much in line with a Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Zuckerberg.
Nailed it.
Like, also a character you love to hate.
Yeah, completely. So then we got the dorm room. We've met our quote unquote hero. We've met Lance Black, our roommate / antagonist, if you will.
Sure. And
then we just jump to he's going to get food. James walks to the dorm and is basically on campus, and he's walking through like this atrium mall like area, right?
Yeah, which I'm glad you said atrium, because I thought it was a mall, and I'm like, atrium makes sense. It's the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. And then I said, oh, is this the college? Yeah, it is.
But then we see him walking through, obviously by himself, to kind of, and then we cut over to like two major characters, right? We cut over to Hannah, and isn't this where we meet the first bro? I'll call him bro number one.
Yeah, because he's not important.
No, he's not at all. But so we cut over to I'm gonna call him bro number one. So Lance has got, like, we'll get to it, but Lance has got like he's basically a bro pod, right? He's got a bro tripod, if you will. It's Lance in the middle, and then we got his two cronies, bro number one, bro number two.
The smaller, blonder one is bro number two, in case anyone's wondering.
And that's
the taller, blonder one is bro number one.
Bro number, right. And the smaller one is the one who was in Dark Knight. Anyways, so we cut over to, we're in the atrium still. We cut over to bro number one, blonde-haired dude with his stupid shirt on, talking to a girl. That's Hannah. We find out a little bit later, right?
Yep, trying to flirt with her.
I immediately, as soon as it cut over to him, I was like, as soon as he popped up on the screen, I was like, I already hate this character.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Do not like him whatsoever. As soon as he started talking, because he was completely rude to the girl.
Yes. Yes. He's like, so she asks him for his name, and he goes, "Why do you need so much information?" And like my instinct would be run away right now. This is a terrible situation.
Right? Why do you need so much? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
And she's trying to get his phone number, and he just goes, "You're obsolete." He literally says, "You're obsolete."
Yep. At that point, I was like, "Yeah, my suspicions were correct. You're a douchebag."
Yes.
And anyone who's dresses like that can't talk to anyone else like that.
No. And then immediately her friends are trying to defend him. She's like, "Oh, he was cute." Wait, what?
Are they actually friends with her though? I don't think they are. I think she just happens to be in a sorority. I don't know why.
Yeah, they're sorority sisters, so I'm gonna assume they're friends, at least on some level. Even if they're casual acquaintances, they're like they know each other. They're friendly.
Didn't seem like it. So after this interaction, you're obsolete. Blonde-haired bro number one. He walks away. We have the friends come over, and then we jump to, I forget how we get to, but whatever. So James, main character, all of a sudden is walking around. He catches up with Hannah, who was the girl who was told she was obsolete, right?
Right. There is no transition, so you're right to say I don't know how we got here, because in this movie, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, as we get through more and more scenes here. And I'm so sorry in advance, listeners, because this movie jumps around so much. There's like no possible way that we can describe every situation that we're in, because there's no segues. Nothing lines up to anything else.
Nope.
All of a sudden we're walking down the hallway.
And there's no reasoning for how we got there. It's just like, all right, someone snapped a finger, we're there.
Yeah, James and Hannah apparently have some kind of relationship from the past. I guess they went to high school together. It's uncovered.
Yeah, yes. Well, it sounds like they went to prom. Well, they went to prom together, right?
Right.
So James catches up with Hannah, who's walking and reading. So, all right, I get this is a Russ, just a dislike. So this girl, Hannah, is walking down this hall, whatever, atrium area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's reading a book and walking at the same time. I cannot stand people who read and walk at the same time. I'm sorry, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to be angry about in this movie, but I guess that's one that we should single out as being the worst thing.
I think it's important just for general life motto. Don't read and walk at the same time. And It was proven for me 5 seconds later. Anyways.
So, PSA, look where you're going.
You see where I set this up. So James catches up with her. Hey, we went to blah, blah, blah. She's like, yeah, I remember we went to prom together. And then there's like a little bit of James just drops this like whole paragraph of exposition about how much he liked this girl. And
he starts with, what did I do wrong? And you've come to find out he's weirdly singing to her at prom. Like, James is a psycho. Like, I don't support James at all at this point.
Yeah, he put her on the spot.
Yeah.
Like, well, you were in high school. Who the fuck wants to be put on the spot like that, you know?
No one. Yeah. And then it turns out that she's very shy. And that's apparently her problem. That's like, they make it seem like it's a huge issue that she has. Like, oh, she's just shy.
Like, no one wants to be put in that position. That's not like
right.
I would say 90%, let's go with 90% of people. These aren't true facts. I didn't look these up anywhere, but I'm going to go with 90% of the population does not like being put in a position of like, hey, public ridicule, or like up in front of like, you know.
Yeah, I hate public ridicule as a general rule. And that and James is just an uncomfortable person to talk to, clearly, anyway, because he keeps saying, he's like, my intentions were the exact opposite of results. And he says it 3 or 4 times in different situations, but like that, it doesn't matter then. Like, you should learn something and take away from this that you were wrong and like change your behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like pouting. I'm never going to sing again. Great.
We don't need that. And she was like, he was like, is my voice bad? She's like, no, your voice is great, but then you put me on the spot. Like, what? And this is going to be the big character flaw here, because she's shy. Like, everyone's shy. Right. Who wants to be put on the spot in high school to sing?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Then There are a couple other like real gem quotes there. I think we're about getting to the Jane Austen point.
We're getting there. Coming back to my last comment about people who walk and read at the same time.
Oh boy.
After they have a quick conversation, she takes 2 steps. She almost trips and falls.
Sure.
Reading,
like you do.
Reading and walking at the same time. Just don't do it. Stop. One or the other. That's how it works.
This episode is sponsored by Don't Read While You're Walking. .org.
Just go, if you just sit down and read, or just walk and get where you need to go to.
Yep.
Can't multitask. Anyways.
Thank you for your sponsorship.
So this conversation is still happening. They're still talking. And yeah, I mean, they connect, they bond over all of a sudden Jane Austen.
Right. Which I've never read. I don't know if you have.
No.
I guess we probably should before we make too many comments there. But the one thing that really stood out to me that made me upset was when he's talking to Jane Austen, her names are so precise, like IP addresses. It's like, wait,
what?
Is this how you flirt?
No wonder your family is worried about you. No wonder your sister makes fun of you.
Yes, all of this makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think it was this interaction of like, so she's reading Jane Austen and he's like, oh, what are you reading? Whatever. And he just says like, yeah, I love Jane Austen. Sure, I've never read any Jane Austen stuff.
Yeah, it's a book. Yeah, it's definitely they have books. Is Jane Austen a book? Is Jane Austen an author?
Jane Austen's an author.
Yeah, send us an email. Shout out Russ for not knowing who Jane Austen is. Classic Russ.
Wait, hold on. You're the one who doesn't know.
No, of course I know Jane Austen, the author. Famous English novelist known primarily for her 6 major novels.
You just read that because the thing I looked up. Bullshit.
Interpret, critique, and comment upon the British landed gentry at the end of the 18th century. Of course it is, Russ.
Oh, so we're on the same page as the same Jane Austen then. Yeah,
we're all talking about Jane Austen here.
But yeah, this felt like the kind of like the reverse of like when like the guy's like, a girl says like, oh yeah, I read Spider-Man comics. It was like, you know what I mean? It felt like the kind of like the flip of that, where like they're surprised, like, oh, you read Spider-Man comics, but you're a girl. And it's like, oh, you read Jane Austen? Yeah,
this movie's stereotypical and misogynistic enough to be like, oh yeah, let's just take that and do the opposite. And like, what's the opposite of Spider-Man? Jane Austen. Terrible.
It's so terrible.
Yeah. Oh, and then you get another like, there's a chasm between my intentions and my results. You're like, stop talking about your intentions and your results. This isn't a
program. I mean,
that's the core lesson of the movie, Russ. Relationships aren't a program.
Yeah, they aren't.
You're the app, Russ. You're the app.
What? Why are you what? I agree with you.
I'm just quoting our hero James here. All right, so we get back to the dorm.
We're back in the dorm. By the way, we go back to the dorm quite a bit here, so it's gonna get a little overdone. But yeah,
it's one of 4 scenes in the movie.
All right, so we're back in the dorm. Like I just sighed, like I'm exhausted already.
Yeah,
we're like 5 minutes into the movie.
Yep, and Lance is immediately he's brought a girl back to the apartment, and James rightfully says, "Where am I supposed to sleep?" And Lance goes, "Not here. Figure it out, man." I was like, wait.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, this is ruthless. Like, this isn't how. I don't know. I lived in college dorms freshman year, and I don't think any of my roommates ever said anything like,
yeah, not here. Figure it out. Like, what?
Yeah. And then why does she have to leave out the window? So then this is the next day, right? Like, he sleeps in the laundry room or wherever.
Yep.
The next morning we come back and Lance is trying, like, someone's knocking at the door, and Lance is trying to say,
hammering on the door.
Yeah, hammering on the door.
And there's like, as we come into the scene, there's a bra hanging on. Okay, cool. So Lance hooked up with a girl. Great, got it.
Yeah, I thought it was like the cops or something. Someone that would actually be knocking aggressively on the door.
Yeah, no, but then it's Lance and this random girl in James's bed, by the way.
Right.
It's like,
which
dude, your bed is right. Like, is this to
not
show?
Cool.
Like, come on, man.
Assert your dominance, I guess.
Yeah, whatever. Alpha douche. So someone's banging on the door. It's Lance's dad.
Right.
Right.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And all of a sudden Lance is freaking out that this girl has to get out of here.
Right.
Which
and
5 seconds later makes no sense.
Right, exactly. And she jumps out the window like a real trooper.
Yeah, she does. Which is, first of all, why?
Right.
Second of all, they were on the first floor.
Right, exactly. And this was, I think, in your Fast Facts originally, and we took it out. But there's a line that Lance says then, "Bimbo flying, somebody catch her," which, again, a weird thing to say. Like, I don't know any college age kids that say the word bimbo at all. And also, like, what? I don't know. Why call her a bimbo? Like, I don't know. Like, none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, you just tell her to leave.
The reason why it was a fast fact was because you said it was a crew member that said it or something like that.
I didn't even say it's for a fast fact. I skipped it. It was in a trivia thing on MDB, and it just made no sense. I was like,
oh, right. We skipped it because it was uninteresting.
Because it was literally just a line he said in the movie. So,
yeah. And then how does his dad at the door not hear him scream that also?
Right. So then, all right, so the girl leaves. This whole interaction is just stupid. He opens the door and his dad comes in, and immediately I'm just like, why did he need to make the girl leave?
Yeah.
Like, he could have just walked out the front door, like, put your clothes on and walk out the front door. Like, his dad clearly would not have been pissed because his dad is also an asshole.
Right. Exactly. And he makes her leave, and he goes, "Oh, like, I'll give you a gift certificate for bagels and coffee at the place there." And then when his dad shows up, his dad's also talking about bagels and coffee. Like, everyone in this movie is obsessed with bagels and coffee. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Makes no sense at all. Dad comes in, and then we get this. We learn, like, immediately. I was like, yeah, his dad's definitely an asshole. Definitely could tell. Why would you make the girl have to go out the window? All this sort of stuff, right? And then his dad comes in, and then, like, the dad's girlfriend comes in.
Right, Inga.
There's a lot of, by the way, there's a lot of broken families in California.
Seemingly.
Like, and a lot of dads who are dating women who are way too young.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with broken. Like, don't say broken families, Russ. I don't think that's the preferred term.
What? I don't know. Like,
I don't know. You have separate families.
Okay, well, I don't know. I've got a separate family. Fine.
Yeah, you come from a broken home, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, broken home is like you don't have a family unit anymore, right? I don't know.
I know. It's the most 80s thing you've ever said.
What's that?
It's the most 80s thing you've ever said.
Well, that's what they labeled it as back when I was a kid, all right?
I know. You were a latchkey kid. I get it. So, yes, the dad is a piece of shit, and you hear about it when he's talking about his girlfriend, Inga. This is
priceless.
She walks away, and Lance goes, "What happened to Fabiola?" And he goes, "Inga happened to Fabiola." Like, this is awful.
It's terrible.
You're setting a bad example.
And at this point, I was like, is this movie just like, is this written to just kind of like a shit on fest of guys? Maybe that's what it is. That's fine, I guess. Maybe is that what it's supposed to be?
Right. And that's what I almost hoped it would turn into that. Like, if it were just, an indictment of hypermasculinity as a toxic like, if it were doing that, I would have appreciated it, I think, but it doesn't. And then also at the same time, like I said earlier, the women have no agency in this movie either. So, like, no one in this movie comes across as good or competent.
Nope. Just assholes across the board.
Yes, everyone is unlikable.
Everyone's dumb and assholes.
Yes. So we go to class.
Yeah. All right, so we've met Lance. Now we're moving into first day of class, I guess, or whatever. I don't know, day of class, right?
Yep.
We're in our computer science class, which, by the way, is the teacher. Is she from Third Rock from the Sun?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that, because I was trying to place her, and I
forgot to mention that earlier. I forgot she was the mom of the alien family.
She's
right?
the best actor in the movie. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, hands down, like no doubt. She has some of the best lines too.
Yeah, she's something special. Like, wipe the girl off your face, please. I think it's her first line in the movie, basically.
Yes. Other than being like, all right, everyone's here, and she's doing roll call or whatever, and Lance comes in late, and again, this is where things are just awkward because like Lance was in his dorm room with his dad, right?
Right.
And then we just cut right to class, and Lance has got like, it looks like he's got a rash around his mouth, but it's actually lipstick.
Yeah, which is not clear.
Yeah, I was like, does he have a rat? Where the fuck was he?
I'm glad they had the line in there of wipe the girl off your face, because I wouldn't have understood what was up with his face otherwise.
I would have been like, he's got a rash.
Yeah.
Like first week of class, school. Right.
And it's the first day. It definitely is the first day. And I wrote this because I was confused about which day it is, how quickly time passes. Like about half of this movie is a Christmas movie at some point.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot the other half is definitely a Christmas movie.
So there's a lot of time that doesn't time means nothing here.
Whatever,
confirmed it's definitely the first day. And then
that would be September.
Yes, let's say September 5th. Why not?
After Labor Day, that's when school starts, right? I think
arbitrarily in most places.
Yeah.
So I'll let you say this because you're a Connecticut guy. You can.
So yeah, this one I was like, did she really just? So we're still in the classroom, first day, Third Rock from the Sun. She's got the best line for like to wipe the girl off your face, please. That's a pretty great line. Yeah. And then she says, I think right after that, she says, God, I miss New Haven.
Right.
And it was like, what? Did you just?
And so I was like, is that a Yale joke? And I think it's definitely a Yale joke.
But is that a joke? Like who would get that?
No, it's not for anyone.
Except for someone who's from New Haven, be like, why would you say that? Yeah.
It's like for people who have some connection to New Haven, there's no way that no one in California knows where New Haven is.
No, they have no idea. Are you kidding me? No way.
Of course not. And she's trying to go through her syllabus here, and like nobody did any homework, and it's a whole thing except James, which is also dumb. But she finishes up class for the day saying, "You have to work very hard. Class dismissed." And it's literally 2 minutes. She goes from wipe the girl off your face to class dismissed. And
that's it.
Maybe a minute and a half. Yeah.
And I don't think there was any cut. I think it just went these 3 lines and that was it.
Yep.
Yep.
And so my other thought here is like, why does everyone have to take computer science? Like, is everyone at this college a computer science major? Is that a thing now because this came out in 2018 and maybe that is the future?
I don't know.
Are we out of touch with the kids again?
Yeah, I don't know. Is computer science? It's like you need to take a math course, an English course, and you need to take a computer science course. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't get it.
If there's any kids out there, never mind. Don't.
Careful, buddy.
Yeah, don't reach out to us.
Yeah. Tell us about your computer science classes. Email us at that's me.
Don't
email us. Don't
email us. Don't contact us. You're not even listening to this. Don't even worry about it.
Instagram?
No, don't even do anything. Just ignore us. So yeah, there's more to this whole class thing though, right? I saw
Yeah, well, this is when it like jumps around like a little bit, and this is I think right after class. I lumped it into the classroom, but when they're trying to like bully him into not doing any work, and so like basically they're like, you like don't do the homework unless we tell you to.
Yeah, so we get the three bros, right? So he goes up to the library, it looks like James, and 3 bros follow, and they basically because in the classroom James stood up because he was the only one who did the homework that was in the syllabus, whatever. No one else did it.
And the logic is she can't fail all of us if we don't do it.
Which I don't.
I can.
like, yeah.
You can. You totally can.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to.
It's not like high school where she has to really worry about her job. I mean, like, yeah, you don't want to fail everyone, obviously, because it makes bad pour on you. But like, she could.
Right. Nothing about it makes any sense. And then, like, the other kid here, the shorter, blonder, smaller, blonder, bully.
Smaller, blonder.
He like wants to learn also. He's complaining about, he's like, oh no, I want to learn.
Yeah, he says it like what? Okay.
Like, who's this other nerd that wants to learn? At this point, we don't know that this other kid's a bully. And so I was concerned for him. These are two upstanding students that just trying to figure out college, navigate this whole experience together. They're all new freshmen. I thought I was watching Stand and Deliver for a second.
So they give like kind of like that's them, the bros meeting the James, although James is roommates with Lance, head bro, if you will. They're in the library, and then we go to the bros just walking and talking, right? Classic Sorkin, you know?
It's a board meeting.
It's a board meeting. It's a classic walk and talk with some bros.
Yeah, they call it explicitly a board meeting a weird amount of times.
I kind of like this whole sequence was just kind of like jarring. Like,
yes.
So they were basically coming up with the idea for the act at this point.
Yes.
The bros were Lance leading kind of the charge there. He has an awkward encounter with a girl who goes up the stairs and is like, "Hey, you remember me?" He's like, "Yeah, should I?" She's like, "Yeah, we slept together."
Yeah.
He's like,
"We slept together. You never called."
Yeah. And then that's just sparks the idea, right? So the bros.
Right. Well, and before that, though, even like right before that, I'm just like questioning the writing here of what, like how old is the writer that we're talking about? Because we're saying things like dating is for putzes. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard a person say putzes that's not over the age of 60.
You've heard me say it, but yeah, I'm old, I say, but,
right. Exactly.
Like no one college age is saying that.
No.
Even I know that.
Dating's for putzes. Why would I waste money on a movie? Like, okay.
Anything that I say in the real world, I know like no kid 20 years younger than me saying.
Right. Exactly. And that's when they get the idea. And so that's when Lance talks about how the perfect app hasn't been created yet. And then they do like a very exposition-y like sequence of like, but what features do we need?
Yeah.
Like, well, it would have to make the girl that couldn't find me afterwards. And then he goes through a weird list of things like, you can't know your last name. And there's very specific weird features that they call out. And I'm already very uncomfortable.
Yeah, this is like a college campus, not good app.
Right, exactly. And then they're just like, wait, why can't we just create an app like that?
Yeah. It's called like Ghosted. Like
sure.
Right? And they don't name any other dating apps, right? I don't think they don't name any actual legit, probably because they can't, but they don't name any legit dating apps. But it's like, isn't this just Tinder? Just use a fake name and create a Tinder account.
It's implied. Yeah.
All right. So the bros have a board meeting, the bro board meeting, if you will. And this is where they come up with the idea for this terrible dating app, which is basically, I don't know, sketchy, if that's a way I may describe it, where it's pretty much like it's a hookup app, but you literally know nothing about the other person.
I think sketchy is a gross understatement.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something even worse, which I could throw out there, but I was like, let's try to keep it,
No, it's horrible, and it's where the "I don't see how this benefits us" quote comes from too, later on. But the idea for the app makes no sense. Like, why would anyone sign up for this voluntarily?
Yeah, I like to think that the youth has got a little bit of a brains here.
Yes,
pretty much they want to make a dating app where you didn't know anything about the person. You just used it for hooking up, which is pretty much just Tinder. But they were going to cram a bunch of like stuff in pretty much their terms of service that was just like that no one's going to read, but it was like, yeah, terms of service, don't share your name. Here's all this other stuff. Don't do.
Yeah. And also it was kind of weird that they were calling it, they made the rules so weird and arbitrary that like no one would ever possibly agree to those. Like that's what I don't understand. I think more than anything, it was like, they made the point of talking about, well, if all the guys are there, then all the girls will have to sign up for it. I don't think so.
Doesn't make any sense.
I don't think all of the people sign up for anything in general.
So bros get this idea, and then they have a light bulb moment of they realize that James, Lance's roommate there, is a coder, big nerd. Obviously, we all know this.
We know this.
And they decide to go back to him and say, "Hey, pretty much build this thing, right?" Or they do kind of like a quick interview with him, right?
Right. Because bro number one, not Lance, taller blonde guy. This is going really well for the podcast, by the way. I'm sure everyone at home is really enjoying listening to us be like, yeah, bro one and bro two, taller blonde guy, shorter blonde guy.
Well, let's pick names right now and just do it.
They have names. Look at what's the IMDb, Pull. It's like Wesley. One of them's Wesley.
Oh, it's Daniel and Wesley. Okay.
Yeah, Wesley's the big one. Daniel's the small one. So Daniel and Wesley they're chilling and they're arguing with Lance about why they're creating this app. And Wesley brings up the valid point. We can't even understand the syllabus. And like, I know he was making a joke, but also I believe him.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt.
Why are you forced to be a computer science major if you also can't understand the syllabus? Like, how did you get to this point? What made you think this was a viable career option for you to pursue?
My only response is it's California.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know either.
So you're right. So then they interview him. Then they start.
They pull James in. So we got Lance, Wesley, and Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of give him an interview, right? And they're talking to him, and they're like, "Oh, you've coded. How long have you been coded for?" He's like, "Since I was 7."
Yeah, nerd.
Yeah. He's been led into the board meeting.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, I've built plenty of apps." And there's one that jumped. Go ahead. You gonna say?
I was just. Well, they ask, "Have you ever made an app before?" He goes, "Yeah, which one?" Wait, right. That's a weird way to answer that question. Yeah. He's like, "Well, I made 17 for iOS and 12 for Android." I was like, Android getting the shaft as always.
Seriously, which has the much larger marketplace, right?
Yeah, Russ and I are big Android people, in case you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyways, go with what you were saying.
So then he's like, "Yeah, I've built a bunch of apps." He starts rattling off all these apps he's made. One that caught me was he said he built an app that led homeless people to shelters.
Oh yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think if you like actually look at stats, like real world stats, there are probably a large percentage of homeless people that have a cell phone. Like, why wouldn't you at this point? Like a lot of the homeless people they're not lifelong homeless people. You end up there because you miss a few bills and you're like in tough circumstances.
Well, there's a whole huge population of them that are also just digital, like not digital, I mean, like who are people who've chosen to not have a home and are like still have electronic devices. Like,
sure. Digital nomads, I think you were going with.
So yeah, and then that's it. So they pretty much just come up with like a really super sketchy version of Tinder. That's even more sketchy version of Tinder.
Well, right. And the terms that we were talking about earlier that are crazy for anyone to agree to are no names, no seeing the person again, and no dating. You're like, wait, what's the point of this? I get it's a hookup app, but also this is real weird.
Yeah, and no one should sign up for this app.
Right.
Period.
Right. So then we cut to the family walk, which I didn't realize was his family at first because they're having a very weird conversation.
Yes.
I was like, I don't talk this way around my parents or my grandparents. Rest in peace. Come on, boy. Like, have you hooked up with any college girls yet? And he's like, well, no, Dad, I'm making apps and stuff. And his dad's like, I'm going to ask for a paternity test. And I was like, that's pretty messed up.
Harsh. Sorry, Dad, you're an idiot. And like what?
So ruthless. And then the grandfather's like, well, I'm going to ask for a paternity test for that paternity test. Why are we joking about this? This is a real issue. And then the mom, sorry, before you get to whatever you're going to say, I just want to close my section with, and then the mom says, if you want to ask about the fairer sex, you should ask your grandfather.
Oh boy.
Really upsetting.
Yeah.
Like they have a weird exchange with the grandfather about about women in general. Nothing in this situation is appropriate. Yeah. We somehow get to the family walk, which there was no beginning or end of. Like, just kind of zoom in at the moment.
And then
then
gone.
Pan out, fade to black.
Like whatever. And then we immediately jump to Lance and James meeting. Where were they? Were they just like, I don't know. So all I cut to was Lance getting out of like a brand new Corvette.
I think it was the atrium in the daytime.
Okay. So Lance has got a ton of money. Now we know this, right?
Was that a Corvette? I couldn't tell what kind of car it was. Okay.
Yeah, because when he went and sat back down in it, like it was a Corvette emblem on it. It was like one of the new ones.
Yeah. I was like, how does he have this car? Like, that's what we were saying. They didn't hint at this earlier at all. Like when his dad came by and was a piece of shit earlier, like there was no hint that he comes from money. Like we don't know that Lance comes from money.
Nope. Well, did we skip the whole part about, did we miss the part where Lance tells, like, where they had the conversation about how James wanted to get into MIT? He wanted to get into a better school, basically?
No, that's happening right now. That's in
okay. I thought so.
Yeah. So that's when he rolls up to him and says, hey, like you really got to build this app for us, guy. And that's when he gets into the whole, like, well, I'll pay for your college. He's like, well, my family's business, and I got into Stanford and MIT and Harvard and wherever else, name a college that you can think of. Yeah. But I couldn't afford to go there. But like, my family's business. And I was like, what are you talking about? Your family's business? That's a weird thing to focus on.
But we do touch on it later on, where we find out how the dad just blew through his inheritance and fucked up the family business.
Right, but we never get any more information about the family business.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Like, what?
Says business.
Yeah, you're setting up something that makes no sense later.
Yeah.
So Lance and James have a back and forth, and then Lance pretty much. It's weird. He just says like, "Oh yeah, he doesn't say think about it." He's like, "I can help you get the money to go to MIT," basically, right? Is that
I think he said, I will give you the money to go. Like, I think he said, like, I will pay you the money that you need to go to MIT.
Pretty much, right? And then
it's pretty explicit.
And then he goes on this whole rant about how we could be Bill Gates and Paul Allen, Steve Jobs and the Woz,
Yeah, who is this kid? Like, why is he referencing those things? You make him seem out like he's such a dummy earlier, and then all of a sudden he's like no one knows who Paul Allen is.
Yeah, not really. Like I know who he is. You know who he is.
Sure.
But a very small majority of
this kid wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't.
Although he's a computer science major, so I don't know. Like everyone at the school is a computer science major, so.
So then, is this also the same time where we cut back to the dorm room and James agrees, right, to build the app?
Right, exactly.
So James agrees to build the app, and then at this moment, he becomes the bully.
Yeah, he turns into a bully. He starts asking and not asking. He's really telling, like, make me breakfast.
Demanding. You got to make me tea. You got to do all this stuff for me.
It's a whole thing, while also demanding that I don't want people to know I'm a part of this. He gets really upset when Lance is talking about how they need to have a like, who owns this app? Whose idea is this? And
classic social network.
Right. And James goes, I just want to be behind the scenes. I'm just doing the coding.
The code.
Making the
code.
This is all you.
Yep.
And then and I love Lance's response to that. He goes, we can't tell mommy? Like, why not? When he's talking about like his mom finding out. Yeah. And I was like, oh wait, it turns out that's actually an important plot point, apparently.
Very much so. Then we jump to a walk and talk with the bros, the brofecta there, and
yep.
the random girls, the girls who were just basically the sorority girls who were pretty much in every. They're the girls, right?
Well, and I think one of them is the one. Thais pointed this out to me a little earlier. I think one of them was the one that he threw out the window in the beginning.
Yes.
Rachel, who is the girl that I didn't realize that. She's an important character apparently too.
Uh-huh.
That we'll find out later. But yes.
Yep.
The bros and the main sorority girls are walking down the hall talking about this new app idea.
I thought this was funny. What language is the app in? Because they're having a conversation about like building this app, whatever, and then they're like, oh, what language it is?
I think it's Rachel that asks, right? Or one of the other girls.
Yeah. I think it's Rachel. Oh my God.
English. Yeah, classic programming joke. And then I was like, why are they appreciating this? Why is everyone in this school in computer science? It makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
And then we come back to the dorm room again.
Yep.
James is like taking over the place. Lance walks in. There's all of a sudden there's whiteboards everywhere.
Yeah, where do you get all these whiteboards from? There's like 6 whiteboards.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it enough yet in this movie, but the music is real weird. The musical choices throughout this movie are fascinating. Yeah, so most of the music sounds like it's from the period, right? Like most of it sounds like it's from like the 2010s. It's like it's contemporary pop music for the most part, except for in this scene when James is sitting there at the computer making even more demands about why he's the guy in charge.
Yeah.
And the music's like, and it's like very like 80s code. Like I'm watching Hackers, which I know is 90s, but like I'm watching like some old movie.
Real science. Come on, real science.
Yeah, awful, horrendous.
Real genius. Real genius.
And you're like, oh no, now I know he's coding for sure.
He's in it. He's
yeah, that guy's building an app.
Locked in, clearly.
Yeah. And he's like, this is my sanctuary.
Ugh, what? Yeah, James just leaps over to like the total asshole barrier there.
Right. And then this is where you would expect if they were doing some kind of role reversal for the characters where all of a sudden the likable character becomes an asshole and the asshole becomes a likable character.
Right.
No, it doesn't happen. They're both still awful.
No, it's just now everyone's an asshole.
Now everyone is terrible. And Lance is like, for some reason, James is coughing a bunch, which I don't know. I'm kind of convinced that he has black lung at this point, but
it was so confusing because like he started coughing and then Lance just throws him a jacket.
Yeah, don't you dare get sick on me.
Like what? And he doesn't get sick, right?
No. And also, how is like throwing him a sweater gonna help him out in terms of not getting sick?
It's also like he fakes being sick, I think, to get more stuff out of Lance, but it's like 2 days later, well, he's not sick. You know he's not sick, right?
Right. Well, do we?
All right, so that's another terrible interaction. So we jump back to classroom.
I've got so many questions about this teacher.
I'm going to let you ask away, and I'll answer them the best I can. The only thing I had about this entire scene was Lance was put on the spot, and him and his 2 buddies, cronies, the Daniel and Wesley, there, the blonde bros,
the bronies, sure, the
bronies. They're like the worst bullshitters ever. Like they're terrible at this. They're terrible at lying.
Oh, yes. Awful. And this is where everyone's judgment, again, comes into play. No one's a likable character, even the teacher, because she's letting them off the hook. She's letting them get away with this. Like, they're saying idiotic things. Lance is talking about how I'm developing a real app. More than meets the requirements of this class. I was like, wait a second. I also went to college. And if I just, did the thing that I went to college, I was, if I'm studying advertising or whatever, I couldn't just make an ad and be like, oh, well, I think that satisfies the requirements of the course. Like, no, of course not.
Done.
That's not how learning works. It's not how any of this works. And the teacher's entertaining it. And they're lying out, like you said, they're lying out their asses like, oh, my contract with NASA prevents me from saying anything. If we talk about what we're making, we're going to wind up dead in our sleep. I goes, wait, that's not how NDAs work.
Yeah, that's not at all how they work.
Yeah, and she's buying into all of it.
And I'm pretty sure NASA doesn't kill people.
Well,
that's going to be another podcast. Russ and Jared dig into, well,
we can't.
Are you sure about that?
Neither of us can say it for certain. You get a guy who knows a guy.
Absolutely.
Shout out to NASA.
They're all, government agencies. Who knows? Anyways, that's a different podcast for a different time.
Right. But the point is, she let them out of the quiz. They're like they were trying to get, there were pop quiz that was happening. They were trying to get out of the pop quiz.
But she just let Lance out of it. The other 2 blonde guys still had to, I think.
I thought the whole team was out.
No, I think it was just him because he was the one who was like, yeah, I'm working with blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Oh, that's even crazier then. What's the point of all this?
It's,
And like, wouldn't that mean, wouldn't, if you were a teacher, Russ, put yourself in a teacher's shoes for a second here. I know how you like to wear other people's shoes. Why would you let them not take the quiz? Wouldn't that just mean that they could ace the quiz? Like, wouldn't you be like, well, you got a head start on all your classmates.
You're clearly a genius.
Yeah.
Take the quiz.
Demonstrate your knowledge.
Because that's what coming to school is all about.
I believe that's what quizzes are for.
Yes. You've learned something, you've absorbed it, and then you can demonstrate that you've learned this thing.
Infuriating.
Yeah, I went to the wrong school. So she's like, she presses teacher, pressed him like, so what's the name of the app, right? Because they have still a back and forth.
Yep.
He comes up with like, I think a random name on the spot, right?
Terrible name.
Jungle for the dating app. Jungle.
Awful.
I get it, but really
terrible.
And then that's it. And then he's let out of the quiz. Hold on. He's let out of the quizzes if he can provide a full, what'd she say? A full basically rundown of.
I think that's later.
Oh, is that later?
I made a note about that later.
Shit. I thought that was at that point where she was like, yeah, you can skip the quizzes if you can provide like a full, document of like basically what your app's gonna be doing other than proprietary information.
No, I wrote that down later.
This is great. Great.
No, he gets out of the quiz scot-free. Nothing happens. Nothing bad happens at all.
All right. So he's out of the quiz. We jump back to Lance and James' dorm room. James continuing to be
James has black lung at this point, for sure.
Yes, no doubt. He's still pretty much being a jerk.
Right. And this is where I thought they were going to get into like a stand and deliver moment for me. When I was like, oh, he's learning. Like Lance is talking about how he's trying to remember all these terms. He's trying to get James to coach him on how the app works so that he can actually understand. Because like when the girls earlier asked him about the language question, he had nothing to say.
Yep.
Exactly. And so I think he's actually trying to learn. And so for a second I was proud of him. I thought they were going to try and develop the character a little bit more. Just a little bit.
Did you say develop in character in a movie that's rated TV-14?
I thought it didn't pan out that way. And then the scene, the whole rest of the scene focuses on James being sick.
Yeah, like annoyingly.
Really annoyingly. And like pulling, like he's acting like Lance has also never been sick.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've got a real bad cold. Could be a week. If it's a sinus infection, could be a couple of weeks.
Like
based on what information? Like, you're not a doctor. You're a stupid nerd. Get out of here. And then,
that's a problem. Stupid nerd. Stop saying that, man.
You're right.
That's bullying. You're bullying.
I'm bullying. And then he prescribes 6,000 grams of vitamin C crystals to himself, which
That's a lot, isn't it?
I mean, presumably the grams is in terms of the crystals and has nothing to do with the vitamin C dosage. Like, I'm assuming whatever crystals he's got, 6,000 grams of it is not 6,000 milligrams or whatever. Like the appropriate amount of vitamin C that you can take in a day is not that. Okay. It's not 6,000 grams. That's way too much.
Yeah, that seems like a lot, right?
Yeah, PSA, not a doctor or a scientist.
Don't know. Yeah, I'm not very good with the metric system either. So, yeah.
I'm okay with metric, and 6,000 grams, not an appropriate dose of vitamin C.
No matter what, it sounds like a lot.
No. And then he's like, well, realistically, my sickness should last no more than a month.
Like, what's the whole point of this? Is he just being a jerk to be a jerk, right?
Yes. And this is when it finally occurred to me when I was like, oh, he's playing him.
Yeah, which is good. Well, he's laying in bed and he smiles when he says, like, go make me some tea or whatever. Or get me the 6,000 grams of vitamin C crystals, It's like...
Right. And that's when they do, like, the little role reversal scene, which I love, which is when they banish Lance to the laundry room to sleep, just like he banished James on his first day.
Hey, the bully's got to get bullied,
Yep, exactly.
That's called escalation. That's not how you should actually handle anything. but
no, it's an awful idea.
It's an awful idea. So
yeah, we're on the record as being pro communication.
Pro communication, talk to each other, work it out. Don't bully each other to get what you want.
Exactly. Unless it's really fun.
I feel like we just had a really positive, that's a pretty good positive message we just sent to the world.
Yes. Be best, some would say.
Be better. Don't,
yep.
Right?
I was going somewhere specific with that, Russ.
Wait, would you say? Yeah, keep going.
I said be best. No, that's for the.
Oh, be best.
Yeah, you know who you are out there.
What does that even mean? Is that something I don't know?
It's a Melania Trump thing.
That's good. Okay. Whew. So
then it's the next morning. It's the next morning. Yeah, just like that. It's the next morning. Lance comes back upstairs to the dorm room, and James is ready to show him the app for the first time.
That's right. We got launch day.
We have launch day, kind of like launch day. Don't care for it. Doesn't really go well.
So now, I really could note that, like, Jared, you and I have worked together. We've never talked about this, but we worked together at a tech company.
Sure.
We've gone through launch days.
Those happened. Yep.
Never like this.
No.
Never nearly as smooth as this.
Yeah, for one. Yes. Yeah, from the actual logistics of the rest of this.
This makes it look like we're idiots at our job.
Yeah, I was like, Russ, we're both competent professionals. Shout out to all our current and future employers. Some of us have jobs, Russ.
Oh, right. Good luck. After this episode airs, that's it. You're done.
Yeah. No, we've had plenty of smooth product launch.
But this one, man, they nailed it just from a dorm room and just launched it, and it immediately just.
Yeah, love the ad that they produce. That James apparently is also an advertiser and produces like a really nice video showing the app in action. That whole scene was.
Go ahead.
That clip was weird to me. Like when they were showing Swipe, whatever jungle stuff for the first time. And there's like pictures all across the screen, and there's like people moving in and out, and there's a weird voiceover that like I don't know who he got to do that.
It was all I just remember just like it was just a bunch of women in kind of clad clothing. That was it.
Right. Was that the app or was that an ad?
I have no idea.
Yeah. And then yeah, and then they're like talking about how they get people to adopt it.
Well, hold on. Before that, one thing I want to call out because I said, you and I we've done some work together here, and I do like that the landing screen for like the sign up for it.
Right.
Did you catch it? The button to like sign up and get going.
I didn't read it.
Oh boy, you ready for this? It said, "Let the hunting begin."
Gross. So gross.
Marketized Friday. There it is. Eric, if you're listening, that's for you. So all right, so they're launching the app for the first time. Lance, they're all excited.
Right. And before they get to they're going to do a big pitch, which I love. Right before that, they're talking about like how they get people on it, and I can't remember if it's Lance or James. It doesn't matter. One of them says there's got to be some mathematical theorem to get them on Jungle.
Oh boy. Yep.
What sentence is that? Who wrote that? Why would anyone?
Did anyone consult anyone?
Did anyone consent? I think that's a fair question.
Yeah, did anyone consent? Did we consent to this movie being made? Consult anyone like on kind of technical jargon?
No. Checks out. I've been working on it my whole life.
I mean, we can't refute it. We're going to move on. So here we go. All right. So app has been built. Jungle has been built. They've launched it. Now comes with every great launch, marketing.
Right. How do you get users to adopt your app?
On a phone, digital online app, right?
Yep. Good words.
I mean, I'm throwing out all the buzzwords I remember from being, So we jump from them launching this to now all of a sudden Lance and the two blonde bros, Daniel and Wesley, they're in like a courtyard of whatever. They're outside at the college, surrounded by a pack of bros, if you will.
I think it's called a murder of bros.
I don't I don't know. Is that
Bros are like crows.
pretty good? And they are pitching the app in person, two people sitting outside.
It's like 12 people.
Yeah, no, it's just 12 people.
It's not like they're changing the world here, and that's what I think drove me nuts too with the rest of the movie, because the spoilers for the next couple minutes, but the app takes off like wildfire. Somehow everyone in the whole world like starts, or at least in this community, starts using this app, and it's insane to me. Like how quickly this is adopted.
Yeah, because it's a terrible app.
As a marketer, I would say you want to spend a lot of your time focusing on the benefits, right? Like you want to be a benefits oriented marketer. And I wasn't sure.
We're cutting to marketing 101 session here.
Exactly. And I wasn't sure what the benefits were until they started talking about time saving.
Because that is the thing for any app out there. It's all about saving time.
Yeah. And not to quote the movie, but I'm going to quote the movie like I have been so far. We don't have time to know a girl's name.
And what it's about is saving time.
Right. And that's their core value prop is we don't have time to know a girl's name.
Yeah.
Huge, if true.
Huge, because it takes so much time to remember another human being's name.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And then they followed up with like a nice no age restrictions.
That seems a little
that feels icky. I don't
Yeah. I think icky is a good way to describe it because it's just
I'm wildly uncomfortable now. Everything about this is like what's wrong with men in movie universe.
Yes.
Women are still objects in all of this whole movie.
Yeah, and the worst part about it was like, I think this is the culmination of everything that is terrible about men in this one scene.
Yes.
Because then it like cycles around to like all these bros and the 12 bros being like, yeah, I don't need to know a girl's name. Yeah, whatever. Raw.
12 angry bros.
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then so they end this whole guerrilla marketing campaign, if you will.
Sure.
With handing them, I think they hand them flyers to hand out to.
There's a lot of paper involved.
Yeah, which makes no sense for.
Download this app.
So you're giving me a piece of paper to tell me to download the app? I mean, I guess if there's a QR code, but still.
I was going to say, I hope there are QR codes.
There's got to be a QR code.
Shout out to QR codes.
I mean, QR codes, if you're listening, we would love to have you on as a guest.
Yeah, they're a hot new thing.
Yeah.
In 2018. So then we cut to the lady's reaction to this. So this is where, and for the listeners, the pacing to you may have felt off so far. I feel like we spent a lot of time talking about the beginning half of the movie. There's a lot of what someone might call character development. I might not, but someone might. And in the second half, everything happens rapid fire. Hey folks, Jared here. This was a lot of fun, and as you can tell, but too much for one episode, so we decided to split this one up into two parts.
Part 2 will be coming out on Thursday, so stay tuned whenever you get your podcast, and we'll be in your ears then.
In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram at It's This Meets That and ITMTPod on Twitter.
Or if you're feeling old-fashioned, send us an email at itsthismeetsthat@gmail.com. As always, you can find all our episodes at itsthismeetsthat.com. Thanks for listening.